In a country renowned for precision, privacy, and perfection, one hotel suite stands apart as the pinnacle of luxury hospitality. Indeed, the Royal Penthouse Suite at Hotel President Wilson commands a level of prestige and a price that makes other five-star accommodations seem like budget options, $80,000 per night. But this isn't just about the price tag. It's about entering a world where bulletproof windows frame Alpine vistas, where private elevators bypass ordinary floors, and where global power players find sanctuary in 18,000 square feet of diplomatic heaven. So in today's episode, I'll take you on a personal tour through this one-of-a-kind location, where luxury transcends the material, creating a space where world leaders can contemplate their next move as we go inside the most expensive hotel room in Switzerland. When they say this is the most expensive hotel room in Switzerland, they aren't talking about a mere presidential suite with a nice view and complimentary chocolates on the pillow. No, they're talking about something that makes other luxury hotel rooms look like budget motel accommodations. Welcome to the Royal Penthouse Suite at Hotel President Wilson in Geneva, where a single night's stay costs more than most people's annual salary, approximately $80,000, though you might suspect the guests who frequent this establishment have never asked about the price. The hotel itself stands like a proud sentinel near two of Geneva's most prestigious addresses, the United Nations Building and Lake Geneva, though calling them nearby feels like saying the crown jewels are near Buckingham Palace, or like saying my private helipad is near my wine cellar. Technically true, but it hardly captures the essence. Named after America's 28th president, Woodrow Wilson, this isn't just any luxury hotel. It's a statement of diplomatic heritage, paying homage to Wilson's dedication to the League of Nations. Though I suspect the former president might have raised an eyebrow at the nightly rate. But it's the penthouse suite that truly defies imagination. Occupying the entire 8th floor, because why settle for a mere room when you can have an entire level to yourself? This 18,000 square foot paradise makes most luxury homes look like studio apartments. The guest list reads like a who's who of global influence. Bill Clinton has walked these halls. Mikhail Gorbachev has contemplated world affairs from its windows. Richard Branson has likely used its business facilities to sign deals that reshape industries. And Rihanna? Well, she's probably composed songs inspired by the panoramic views. Speaking of views, they're the kind that make you understand why Switzerland appears on so many postcards. Though I find the view from my Alpine observatory slightly more compelling, especially during meteor showers. From the suite's massive windows, Lake Geneva stretches out like nature's own infinity pool, while the Swiss Alps stand guard in the background as if personally hired by the hotel's security team. And security? Well, that's where things get interesting. The windows aren't just windows, they're bulletproof barriers between you and the outside world. The elevator isn't just an elevator, it's your private express line to perfection, bypassing all other floors like a steel concierge that only answers to you. Inside, 12 bedrooms and 12 marble bathrooms await, though calling them bathrooms feels like calling the Louvre an art room. Each space has been meticulously designed to make kings feel like emperors and presidents feel like they might need a term limit on luxury. A Steinway grand piano sits ready for impromptu concerts, while a 103-inch plasma television ensures you won't miss any breaking news about the deals you just closed in the suite's private meeting rooms. There's even a billiards table, though most guests are probably more focused on playing global chess than pool. But perhaps the most telling detail isn't in what you can see, it's in what you can't. Because in a world where luxury often screams for attention, this suite whispers in perfect diplomatic discretion, "If you have to ask about the price, this might not be your floor." And speaking of floors, There's quite a story about how this particular one came to set the standard for luxury in a country that wrote the book on it. But more on that in our next chapter. If you're wondering what $80,000 per night buys you besides a legendary address, the answer lies in the details. Though calling them details feels like calling the Alps some hills. Take the dining experience, for instance. The hotel doesn't just offer a restaurant. It presents a culinary journey through a space that redefines the meaning of refinement. Picture a grand corridor where comfort meets cuisine in perfect harmony. On one side, seating that makes you question everything you thought you knew about chair design. On the other, a buffet spread that turns each meal into a diplomatic summit of flavors. The chairs themselves deserve special mention. Crafted from materials so luxurious, they make standard five-star hotel furniture feel like sidewalk seating. But dining is just the appetizer in this feast of amenities. The suite comes with its own private gym, because when you're paying tens of $1,000s a night, even your workout should have a view of Lake Geneva. Though personally, I find my home gym's view of the waters in the Maldives more motivating during morning Pilates. For those moments when world-changing decisions need a moment's pause, the suite offers a private terrace complete with a telescope. Whether you're studying the stars or keeping an eye on your yacht in the lake below, the view never disappoints. In fact, I had a similar setup installed in my penthouse, though the Mediterranean offers a bit more yacht-watching variety. A perfume shop within the hotel stands ready to ensure you smell as expensive as your suite costs. Though considering the nightly rate, one might expect the fragrance to be made from actual gold. The lobby itself serves as an unofficial United Nations assembly with plenty of space for impromptu meetings that might just reshape global markets. After all, when you're paying this much for accommodation, every conversation should have room to expand into a potential merger or acquisition. Even the massage service feels elevated beyond mere relaxation. Though I think telling someone you got a massage in a suite where one night is worth more than many people's yearly salaries changes the whole concept of therapeutic pressure. But perhaps the most impressive amenity isn't something you can touch or see. It's the silence. The kind of silence that comes from knowing you're suspended in a bubble of luxury so rare, even other luxury hotels look up to it. The kind of silence that lets you hear yourself think about whether to buy another small country or just another small airline. Yet these amenities, impressive as they are, only scratch the surface of what makes this suite the choice of those who shape our world. To understand that, we need to look at the true power players who call this place their temporary home, but that's a story for our next chapter. When your average nightly room rate equals a luxury car, security isn't just an amenity, it's an art form. And at the Royal Penthouse Suite, they've turned protection into a masterpiece that would make Fort Knox take notes. Let's start with the windows. Though calling them windows is like calling a Rolls-Royce transportation. Each pane is bulletproof glass, engineered to withstand more than just an enthusiastic paparazzo's telephoto lens, though you can bet most guests are less concerned with keeping bullets out than keeping their privacy in. Inside the suite, security measures are woven into the very fabric of luxury so seamlessly that most guests might never notice them. Hidden steel doors stand ready to transform parts of the suite into safe rooms at the touch of a panic button, though one imagines the most dangerous thing most guests face is choosing which of the 12 bathrooms to use first. Rather like my daily dilemma at the summer chateau, though I solved that by assigning each bathroom its own day of the week. The proximity to the United Nations building isn't just convenient for morning meetings. It means the entire area operates under the kind of security umbrella usually reserved for small nations. Though considering the typical guest list, one might argue there's more global influence in the suite than in some UN sessions. The hotel's developers understood that true security isn't just about physical protection, it's about discretion. Staff members here have elevated silence to an Olympic sport. They've mastered the art of being everywhere and nowhere, anticipating needs without being seen, securing areas without being noticed. Even the room service operates like a covert operation. When a head of state needs their morning coffee, it arrives with the precision of a diplomatic mission and the stealth of a state secret. But perhaps the most impressive security feature isn't what you can see, it's what you can't. The hotel has perfected the art of making extreme security feel as natural as the Alpine air outside those bulletproof windows. Where other luxury hotels broadcast their protection measures like badges of honor, here they whisper in hushed tones of bulletproof elegance. The result is a fortress that feels like a palace, where world leaders can focus less on their security detail and more on which of the suite's lavish bedrooms has the best view of their next diplomatic triumph. Though with views of Lake Geneva and the Alps from every angle, that might be the only security decision they need to make themselves. Yet even these impressive security measures pale in comparison to the suite's most valuable asset, its ability to protect its guests' privacy in a world where secrets are harder to keep than helicopter landing permits. But that's a story that deserves its own chapter. When you're charging this much for a hotel suite, you can't exactly expect your typical tourist clutching a Michelin guide. No, the Royal Penthouse Suite at Hotel President Wilson caters to a rather more selective clientele. Think less Instagram influencer, more global influencer. The kind of guests who don't need to post about their stay because they're too busy shaping world events from their bulletproof balcony. The usual suspects? National leaders from around the globe who find the suite's proximity to the UN building rather convenient for those early morning sessions on world peace, though more actual diplomacy likely happens over breakfast in the suite than in some official chambers. But it's the royalty that truly makes this place their home away from palace. After all, where else can you find accommodation that makes your actual castle feel a bit modest? When you're used to living in places with names like Buckingham or Versailles, the Royal Penthouse Suite feels appropriately, well, royal. The truly fascinating part isn't just who stays here, it's how they interact with the space. These aren't your typical hotel guests worrying about minibar charges or late checkout fees. These are individuals who measure their time in market swings and policy changes rather than nights and days. When they hold meetings in one of the 12 bedrooms, they're not discussing tourist attractions. They're probably redrawing maps or reshaping industries. That private gym isn't just for maintaining physical fitness. It's where deals are closed between sets of diplomatic deadlifts. Even the way they use the space tells a story. The billiards table might host more strategic planning than actual games. The private terrace has likely witnessed more multinational agreements than sunset photos, and one can only imagine the global decisions that have been made while someone casually adjusted their telescopic view of the Alps. The suite's guest list reads less like a hotel registry and more like a who's who of global influence. Though interestingly, the most powerful guests are often the ones you never hear about, the ones who value the suite's discretion even more than its luxury. But perhaps the most telling aspect of this elite clientele isn't who they are. It's how they've transformed this space from mere accommodation into something far more significant. A place where the line between luxury hotel and global command center blurs into something entirely unique. Yet even these powerful guests are just part of what makes this suite remarkable. The real magic happens in how this extraordinary space orchestrates their every need. But that's a story for our final chapter. If you're wondering how a hotel suite justifies an $80,000 nightly rate, the answer lies not just in what it offers, but in the invisible orchestra performing behind its bulletproof curtains. The daily operation of the Royal Penthouse Suite resembles less a hotel service and more a choreographed ballet of luxury, starting with the dining experience, where that long corridor of culinary excellence doesn't just happen, it's meticulously curated each day. The buffet isn't merely stocked, it's composed like a gastronomic symphony, where even the placement of each dish tells a story of precision. Those impossibly comfortable chairs in the dining area, they're not just randomly scattered for aesthetic appeal. Each one is positioned with the careful consideration of someone arranging seating for a G7 summit. And the gym equipment doesn't maintain itself, the massage services don't materialize out of thin air, and that perfume shop's inventory isn't just a random collection of fancy bottles. Every amenity, every service requires an army of invisible professionals working with the precision of a Swiss watch, which, given our location, seems rather appropriate. Even the lobby, with its carefully crafted spaces for impromptu discussions, demands constant attention. The art of maintaining enough room for spontaneous world-changing conversations while preserving the illusion of privacy requires more choreography than most ballet companies. The security team operates like shadows within shadows, maintaining their protective bubble without ever making it feel like a fortress. But perhaps the most impressive aspect of this daily performance is how it all appears effortless. When a national leader needs a midnight snack, when a royal family requests an impromptu celebration, when a tech billionaire decides they need something that hasn't been invented yet, the staff makes it happen with the same casual efficiency as turning down the sheets. Every morning, as the sun rises over Lake Geneva, this extraordinary machine whirs into life again. The private gym is inspected, the Steinway is tuned, the telescopes are adjusted, and another day of orchestrated excellence begins. Thus, this is where the true value of those $80,000 becomes clear. It's not just in the square footage or the bulletproof glass or even the address. It's in the flawless execution of luxury on a scale that makes ordinary five-star hotels look like they're still practicing with crayons. And as night falls over Geneva, as the Alps fade into silhouette and the lake reflects the lights of a city built on discretion, the Royal Penthouse Suite prepares for another night of hosting those who shape our world. Though I suspect the suite itself might have more interesting stories to tell than any of its guests. And now we'd like to see you in the comments. Do you find this hotel room to be a classy bucket list dream kind of a location, or is it gaudy and overpriced? I can't wait to hear your personal tastes and feelings below. Thanks for joining me for another episode of So Luxury Travel. Until the next one.